Whilst on my travels in Scotland, I got to go to the Govan Church in Govan in South Glasgow. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And my mission was to go and find the Govan Viking stones. I've been studying a lot of the ancient Vikings, mainly because Rudolf Steiner talks a lot about Vidar and his coming role and the role of the Norse stream, the northern stream, to help us with our understanding of how we're supposed to be working with the planet and ourselves. So I was very interested to go and see these stones. These stones are said to date from the 9th century. So I wonder if they're older, to be honest. And we can see there's lots of symbolism on them, lots of Celtic symbolism, obviously, of the weaving of the patterns. And we've got a lot of depictions of horses. And obviously they're as men on horses, riding them. Now, what's interesting is, of course, that these stones were found in the graveyard of this church. These stones had been there before this church had been created. Was it an ancient Viking site, maybe, where they used to come to revere their gods and goddesses? So we've got here upright standing stones on megalithic stone. Well, I call it megalithic stone, but it's the old granite that many megalithic stone circles are made from. And we've also got a series of hogbacks. And so these are the more horizontal lying stones. And these hogbacks are, because they're recumbent, they're supposed to be like houses for the dead, for the deceased. Designed like the old Scandinavian or Norse, well, they had houses, long houses. The hogbacks in Govan are dated, I think it was to the 10th century. My favourite stone out of all these was, of course, the sunstone. I think it's amazing how they've got this the sun and it's waving out its rays, but they still had that connection with the sun kings, the sun theme, which is something I talk a lot about on my channel. You aiming to become a solar person? Are you working towards the sun, working with the sun kings that are in the sun, the solar power? Which is why I find it very interesting that Rudolf Steiner talks a lot about the northern path and bringing forth the idea that Vidar, who was one of the few that survived Ragnarok, came back to work with the Christ and is now the countenance of Christ. It's like he has taken over the role of the Archangel Michael, who has gone on to become, or risen up to become, archie in the hierarchy. So the Vikings of old were aware of this role that their gods were going to have in it, continuing the Christ theme, working with the Christ impulse to help us develop ourselves, obviously, and the planet to evolve and develop into the sun that it will one day become. Steiner said that Vidar was the one who has been tasked with bringing the understanding of Christ into this world. And this is why we must try and connect with Vidar. The Vidar flame column is out there to remind us of Vidar's role. And this flame column, which I think this sunstone is from the Govan Church, is also representing. This flame column is describing or depicting the role of Vidar and how we can work towards connecting with Vidar. And all this connects with the Holy Grail, which I think is what we're supposed to be developing within ourselves so that we can allow the esoteric sun to pour into us. We've all been given the task to continue this work to help the development of humanity to go upwards and onwards, to reach to the sun, not fall down to the moon and de-evolve, though we need the moon for certain things, but we must be working towards becoming the solar being that we should be, to be the sun being that we want to be, full of light, life, and love.